So good morning, everybody. Welcome to our service learning follow-up training. We're really excited about today. I know a lot is going on for everybody, including balancing managing in-person childcare and online Aspire, but I hope that this will just make us feel even more prepared for everything that we're doing while also having fun. So Brianne did ask us to do another training to kind of turn the worksheets and the guide that we put together into really tangible and actionable steps. We also really wanted to make sure that we address some of the feedback and shape and design this training in a way that address some of the feedback that we got last time, including actually walking through a service learning project itself. So that's really what we're going to be doing today, and in a really participatory manner. Daniel, anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, I just really want to say that you guys enjoy it, have a great time, and let's have some fun with this. So first, we have a little question of the day just to get us all kind of a little loosened up. I know we've been through a lot last couple weeks and days, and then the drive's been down, but it's okay. So the question of the day is, what was your favorite Saturday morning cartoon to watch when you were younger? So we're actually going to go ahead and do this on the Collaborate board. So if you want to go ahead and share, your favorite Saturday morning cartoons, Recess, okay, Yu-Gi-Oh, I remember that one, Rocket Power, Scooby-Doo, X-Men, okay. Good stuff. Winx Club. Yep. I remember that one too. Okay. Foster's Home, SpongeBob, Dragon Ball Z. Okay. DBZ again. There we go. Caillou. Okay. Looney Tunes. Right on. Okay. Couple more minutes for this. Oh, Looney Tunes got 2 hearts right there. Okay. Foster's. Animaniacs. There we go. That was my answer right there. Jackie Chan. That was a good one. That one was a good one. Okay. Awesome. Rescue Rangers. Okay. I'm gonna have to search all these cartoons up again after. Okay. All right. Avatar. Scooby-Doo. Great. Awesome. Thank you for sharing. Now I know what to watch for this weekend. So hopefully this brought back some feel-good memories, some nostalgia. So we're just going to go ahead and move forward now.
Can I share a brief funny story about Saturday morning cartoons?
Oh, yes, please.
One time I was going to babysit overnight for a family, and I asked the family what their favorite Saturday morning cartoons were because it was from a Friday to a Saturday. And the mom looked at me with like the death stare because the kids weren't allowed to watch cartoons on a Saturday morning. So I was like, oh, what are we going to watch tomorrow morning? And they're like, we don't do that here. Don't even bring up the idea. I was like, oh, never mind.
Okay. That's funny. All right. So moving on, though. So today, the objectives for this training today, first and foremost, is to understand the requirements for service learning this year.
And our next objective is to understand the stages that we, by walking through an actual project itself.
Okay, and last but not least, ensure comprehension among all site coordinators for starting service learning project. Okay. So some service learning requirements for this school year, we will be required to do 2 projects on any topic. They must be completed by the end of the year. Projects can take place online, in person, or both. You can get creative and really make this happen the way you want to make it happen. The online projects can only take place during Fun Fridays until notified otherwise. So We still have the Monday mindfulness, Taco Tuesday, sorry, and so forth. And Friday, where it's Fun Friday, may be the service learning. In-person projects can start in October, any day of the week. Prep, any group can do this now. It doesn't necessarily have to be an SAB project anymore. So you could open this up to all your students and invite them all. Some deadlines here. So for site coordinators and youth leader planning worksheets are due. The first project is December 11th, 2020. The second project will be April 22, 2021. Wow, we're almost to December. But yeah, so I know we just kind of threw a lot of information right now. So are there any questions at this point? And Estrella, I can't see the chat. So if someone does write something on the chat because I'm presenting,
Yeah.
Please let me know.
Yeah.
Thank you. Any questions?
Oh, I think Angel said any topic for Aspire. Yes, Angel. Any topic. Obviously, you'll be proposing that as well, and supervisors will review that. But any topic is acceptable. Like we're not limited to those 3 that we were aiming to do in the past years.
Yes. So those 3, if anybody remembers them, add them on the chat, get bonus points. Those are no longer necessarily required. You can do any service learning project. Okay. Any other questions?
I don't see it, and there's none in the chat yet.
Okay.
Let's see. Oh, Angel, you got it. Community needs, school climate, and environmental. Those were the topics in the past.
There you go. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, right on. Awesome. Perfect.
Okay, so let's jump in. Today you'll be watching, you're in your own very own live service learning skit. You have myself as the narrator of the skit and site coordinator, and Daniel will be our youth leader. We'll play the role of youth leader. And it's not a 2-person show, so we will need some volunteers. And the volunteers, we'll guide you. All that we ask that you do is put forward a little bit of your own spontaneity and creativity, but other than that, we'll guide you through the skit. So would there be are there 5 people that would be willing to be the students, and then 5 people that would be parents? And just a hint, students are much more active and involved than the parents in this skit. Okay, I will let you know, Daniel, who your students are.
Right on.
We have Vanessa and Sarah.
Okay.
We need 3 more students. Let's see. We have Paul as a parent. Okay. Okay. We have 3 more students. Let's see. Alex is a student. Two more students, please. Gonna be fun. Just hop on in. Not going on YouTube or anything, but it is. Okay, Jessica and okay, Jessica and Janet. Hold on, let me see. Janet will be a student. Sarah, you had already volunteered. Okay, so what's going on here? All right, so we've got Vanessa, Sarah, Alex, and Jessica, and Janet for students. We've got our 5 students. And then Samantha, would you be willing to be a parent? I'm not sure what yes means here. Okay, Sam's a parent. We've got 2 parents.
Okay.
Typical of parent involvement, but okay. Oh, Brian, Will would be a great parent. Okay. All right, Will is, okay, thanks, Will. So welcome to the skit. Let's move on.
All right, let's have fun.
Daniel, let me know if you have the names written down there for yourself, right?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Okay, so welcome to Service Learning at Learn. A little bit about what we're going to be going through today. You're going to be hearing about the 5 stages of a service learning project. Keep in mind as you watch this skit, how you want to hold this training with your own youth leaders, relay the information, share the information, what really keep them in mind, because they're going to be the ones doing this with students. We're happy to make the Nearpod slides available either via Google Drive or adding you as collaborators on the Nearpod. An important document's been created that documents the stages. It wasn't formally in the guide. If you knew or reviewed the guide well, you know that these stages were not in the guide before, and they weren't written about anywhere. So what we do have them documented now and in the Google folder. The Google folder has been relocated from the curriculum resources folder to the site coordinator form. So it is in there. Limited people have access to editing. A few of us do. And, just if there's something that doesn't work for you, just communicate with your supervisors. But it's in there in view mode and download mode. And lastly, there are a few surprise checks for understandings throughout. So just don't want to give you that heads up. Let's go on to move into stage 1. So stage 1 of service learning. This can often be a tricky part, because we are asking students, we're basically trying to get a project up and going. And so the stage 1 is really the investigation and identifying a need. At this stage, student ideas are coming about through perhaps a lesson that the students have learned about the world or their local community, or from a student observation that they've had in their personal life. Their students are bringing forth the ideas that they've learned about, they've observed, and beginning the investigation process about these needs in the community, city, country, or world, depending on what they feel passionate about. Every slide here, just so you know, has a rough estimate of the time frame for that stage and the responsibilities of the site coordinator and the youth leader. So the site coordinator at this stage is responsible for setting up the student for facilitating a pretty open-ended conversation with the students. The youth leader needs to be ready to create an environment where students are going to listen to each other, and where they feel heard and safe. And also the youth leader will be having students research some of these needs. So depending on the grade level they work with, obviously that type of research is going to be different. If it's 6th grade, then maybe it's a little bit more elaborate. If it's 1st grade, maybe it's reading a book together about a need, or maybe reading an article out loud to them. We can move on to the next slide. So on the flip side, the youth leader at this stage is responsible for creating that environment like I just mentioned, supporting students and listening to one another, facilitating and teaching the students to research those needs, and leading a process for determining the need that the class will focus on, such as voting or maybe another method that you come up with. So let's see what stage 1 looks like.
All right. Class? Yes. We will be doing some research and gathering information so that we can better understand and address a need, and we will work to provide some solutions. So in a minute, you will see a collaborate board. There you'll be posting a community need. A community need is gaps between what services exist in the communities and what should exist. So you're going to see the board in a minute right now. And the question is, in our daily lives, what do you see in our community that can potentially be addressed? So we will be inputting these needs onto the collaborate board. So please go ahead and feel free, students, to incorporate some of your ideas that you want to work on this year. Okay. So students, what would you like to work on? What gaps or needs do you observe in our community? We need more greens, plants. Okay, I like that. Really, it's a good idea. Okay, it's a good idea. Thank you, Jess. Social SEL programs. Okay, okay. SEL programs. Okay. Alex, thank you, Alex. Recycle. Okay, thank you, Janet. Help the ones in need. Okay. Okay. Help the ones in need. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. One more student. Sarah, it could be anything. Okay, these are great ideas so far. I know, Sarah, you have a.
Oh, Daniel, just a heads up. It's Sarah saying it's not letting her add to the Nearpod board.
Okay.
I've never seen that. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Oh, Vanessa will add it for you, Sarah.
Okay.
They're chatting. Give it a minute, Daniel.
Of course. Yes. Allow the students to, at this point, kind of talk about, share their ideas, and express what they want to really work on. Parent, healthy and tasty food. Paul, I'm right there with you. Usually it's either one or the other, but I feel like we can combine the both of them. Okay. Help the ones in need, parent, healthy and tasty food.
Okay, I think we've got one from Sarah that they're putting up.
Perfect. Helping one another. Okay. All right. So these are great ideas. And thank you all for sharing. So let's move on. And we will be.
So in the days following this brainstorm, the youth leader would have students begin to research those needs that were identified. So maybe a few people would focus on how to get plants, or why aren't there plants? Why does this problem exist? Who might be some people in the community that that already do plants, put in plants. So, or it's what kind of SEL programs would our school like, how would that work? Like, what kind of SEL programs would our school need or benefit from? So like I said, in the following days, they're researching, and then they're coming back to present their ideas to the classroom so that everyone can be a little bit more informed about these ideas and make an informed decision when they're going to vote, right? Let's see what that will look like.
Okay, class. Yes. We will be voting on the option that your classmates presented on, and that will be our project. So shortly, you'll see you'll be able to vote shortly, and so let's actually do that right now. So for the options, we wrote them down in the chat. Estrella wrote them down on the chat. So just vote for the option that correlates to the option that you would like to work on.
And I'll just say two things really briefly. One, let's have all site coordinators go ahead and vote for this, since we won't have a winner if only 5 people vote. And then secondly, obviously this would be a lot more detailed, and the project description would be a lot more detailed at this point, or need, if actually the need will be more detailed, because that, though, maybe the students or maybe a subcommittee fleshed it out a little bit more. They've done research on it by this point. So let's vote on it as is. Dang, I wonder if it's possible to hide the vote. It's like interesting that everyone's seeing each other's votes.
Yes.
I actually can't see it on my end. I
Oh.
just see that I've voted, and I think it's just because you're the teacher.
Right.
Oh, okay.
So we can see it on the screen that Daniel's sharing. We can see the votes, but on the separate tab, you can't.
On the student
Yeah, that's where I'm seeing it, is on Daniel's screen.
Right. Okay. So then let's share. Great. So it looks like option C was our winner. Option C was what was option C? Was that the recycle one?
I'll let you know what we put there. Helping people in need.
Helping people in need. Awesome. Okay. So we'll be helping people in need in our service learning project.
So now that we know what need we want to focus on as a class, we're going to start actually planning the project itself. We haven't yet specified in what way are we going to address, help people in need. Are we going to do that on our own? Are we going to partner with the school in any way, the community? How is this going to happen? So at this stage, we're brainstorming the steps, looking at the resources that we have or that we need, and doing some of the learning that connects to the project that we're going to go with. And that's called integrated learning in service learning. It's one of those 7 elements that we learned about with Every Monday Matters as well. So the site coordinator at this point is going to receive planning worksheets from the youth leader. That's required, that they need to submit, and submit it with their own site coordinator form, all of which you have in the Google folder, and also put in a purchase request. There's going to be materials that you need related to the project. Okay, so like I said, the youth leader at this stage is putting together their own planning worksheet and also guiding the students through a student planning worksheet. So it's kind of like 3 different levels, but they're all, one sort of is feeding into the next, right? From the students to the youth leader, from the youth leader to the site coordinator. And the youth leader also leads a lesson on civic skills at this stage and completes, and also any other integrated learning that needs to take place, or that will take place.
Okay, class. Yes. Okay. So if you actually look at the Google Meet, the document I am sharing right now on my screen, we're gonna be working and planning out our project. So if we can have a volunteer, and who wants to answer the question number 1 on what needs in our community or school will our group be focusing on? Can someone remind the class, please? Just hop on the mic. Just go ahead and hop on the mic, and I'll be able to type it out.
Helping people in need.
Helping people in need. All right. Thank you. Okay. And so why does this need exist? Someone want to jump on the mic and share?
Unfortunately, there's a lot of people who are living in poverty due to different circumstances. So some people need a little bit more help than others.
Okay, so many circumstances. Okay. And who wants to answer question number 3? What difference do you want to see take place?
I would like to see the community come together to help families that are going through challenging times.
That is really good. Come together in these challenging times. Yes. Okay. And last but not least, how can this need be addressed? So how will our group address this need?
Possibly making projects like food drives or donations.
Food drives or donations. Great idea. Thank you. Okay. Thank you, class. We'll be sure to continue answering these questions in the next couple minutes. So we included the PDF for you so you can see the document that we were working on. And this kind of guides and assists the youth leaders to ask those questions and allows the students to share and give their feedback. Remember, they are in the driver's seat and we're a passenger and we're guiding them, telling them where to make the left turn, not necessarily as much, but we're there to guide and be with them so that they're not completely alone, but at the same time, they're leading the project.
So this stage is really about asking questions that are helping students think and reflect on their community and dream and envision. Sarah mentioned that she something very specific that like an idea that was sort of starting to guide the group towards or direct the group towards an action or an event that could take place. So she mentioned that she just wants to see the families come together during challenging times. So that's an opportunity to talk more about what does it mean to come together? What is come together just to become build community amongst themselves and be more connected? Or might it mean come together because there's by way of having donations given to them and having their needs in their lives addressed. So really the youth leader is playing a questioning role, or is in the position where they're asking questions. So following developing or filling out that worksheet, the students can break off into committees for planning, or students are assigned tasks that they're going to work out more. So maybe if we're in person, something that might happen is create posters to promote the event that's going to happen. If we're online, maybe we're going to start contacting, or what could be something to do online, figuring out what kind of donations do people need? Is it clothing because winter's coming up, or is it just maybe I know where I live, people give out turkeys to families in need. So is it a turkey giveaway? It's just, it's doing a little bit more research on that. So students are involved in tasks that are doable for them, and the youth leader is setting them up for that. The youth leader also will submit the planning worksheet and conducts integrated learning. So maybe if, for example, you're doing tree planting, which, well, we're not in this case, but maybe you're learning, you can do something related or integrated, whether it's math or science or engineering or history. You're learning related to the need that you're addressing. And lastly, civic skills is an important part of service learning because it's having students learn how to serve well, how to conduct service well. And there's various skills related to that, such as leadership or listening or social justice. And we have a few lesson plans for that in the Service Learning Guide. And over the past few months, also Learn has been putting a lot together on social justice and resources for developing skills in that area. So we could definitely pull on that as well. That's the end of that stage.
Oh, we did mention that there was going to be a quiz. Hopefully you guys were taking notes and paying attention. So the question is, what documentation in stage 2 is to be submitted? So what documentation is required in stage 2 to be submitted? No cheating.
I'm actually wondering if we even told you all the exact topics.
Yes, now that you say that.
But you should be able to figure it out from the answers there.
Mm-hmm.
And you can click on more than one. Actually, no, we did say it in the requirement slide.
Yeah, I
We
remember
did
that.
say it.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Funny, no answer. Okay. Couple more seconds. All right. Let's go ahead and share the answer now. Hopefully it popped up on your screen on your end. So the answer was, well, it shows on your screen, right? I hope so. Um, let's move on.
The answer is site coordinator,
Mhm.
planning worksheet,
Okay.
and the youth leader planning worksheet.
Yeah, so the site coordinator planning worksheet and the youth leader planning worksheet, yes. Didn't
And
come
we'll
up.
get more instructions later on, I'm sure, on how to, like, where to actually put them. I'm sure our supervisors will let us know where to actually save them.
Definitely. Okay. So moving on.
So welcome to the actual event itself. The action stage is going into action, whether it's an event or an action, or perhaps it's an extended period of time where donations are being taken. But then there's a day where you're going to be giving them or handing them over to a group themselves. So this can take place, and the event itself can take place over the course of 1 or 2 days. And the site coordinator's responsibility at this stage is to support the relationships with any external partners or stakeholders, right? If it's the principal, just maintaining that strong communication about the service learning project. If it's an external organization that maybe you've invited in to lead a workshop for you virtually and your families, then just making sure there's a good relationship being maintained there. Ensuring safety, in these days, of course, it's going to be maintaining COVID, complying with COVID regulations if maybe we're in person again midway through the school year, and ensuring that all the proper documentation related to that as well is submitted. And lastly, documenting, recording, and taking pictures. If the site coordinator gets to be there, let's take a few pictures to document this. And because it may come in handy, especially in the last stage, the demonstration and the celebration stage, and for any future, for the future. So the youth leader at this stage, which Daniel will show us in a minute, is making sure that the students have the instructions clear on what is happening that day. So it's not just students, here we are, let's do it, or it's connecting with the students before the event's going to happen, making sure they understand the instructions, overseeing the event itself, and documenting anything that maybe you want to reflect with the students later on, with the students later on.
Okay, so class.
Yes.
Thank you. So today's the day we help people in need. So let's keep up the great work. Let's remember the importance of giving back to our community, and let's really work together as a team to make sure that this is a success. So everybody hands in, and then say, aspire on 3. 1, 2, 3, aspire. All right, awesome. So thank you. Okay, stage 4.
Did you want to say a little bit more there on?
Yeah, so at this point we are working with the students, so we want to encourage them to, remind them of like the hard work that they've been doing and the research that they've done, and provide those instructions, and really be supporting them and so that they can carry out the actual event or activity that was planned or prepared. And again, taking pictures and documenting so that way you can use this in the last stage that we'll talk about in a couple minutes.
So a reflection, as we think this, as it goes for a lot of projects we do at Learn, takes place throughout the project. It's not just something at the very end, but there is a very intentional reflection activity that should have been determined in the planning stage with the site coordinator that will then be conducted at the very end. And it's also an opportunity to hear back from any external partners that you worked with to make this event happen, to hear their feedback and whether we actually met a real need for them. I'm forgetting the actual element it's called right now within the 7 elements, but the project has to be beneficial to both the students and the partners. That is a really important requirement, and making sure that initially that it was meeting a need for the partner, and then at the very end asking whether that happened. So the site coordinator ensures that the youth leader is ready to conduct that reflection activity with the students, provide support in obtaining feedback from the partners. There might be an official Learn survey for this down the line that will be uniform across the organization, but we'll hear more about that later if that happens. And keeping in mind the celebration and demonstration stage is coming up next. The youth leader and site coordinator need to make sure that they're putting in the request for the celebration plan at this date, at least 10 days prior, so roughly around the days that this is happening, and if not earlier, and working with the youth leader to invite parents, partners, families, and school administration to the celebration and demonstration. The youth leader, as Daniel will show us in just a moment, guides the students through the reflection tool that they've selected, documents any reflections that are just verbal. For example, like if you do a reflection survey, then obviously you have that documented. But if not, then the youth leader should jot down any notes from what the students have been saying and turn that into the site coordinator for the site coordinator to learn from. And then, like we said, demonstration and celebration planning should be, and any materials that need to be requested should take place around this time.
Okay, class. So we will now be reflecting and looking back at all our hard work. In front of you are quotes about giving back. So pick a quote that best answers this question. How are you feeling as a result of the project that we have been working on? So in a minute, I'm gonna allow you guys to draw on it. So please draw a shape on the quote that represents that and share why. So go ahead and you can use the draw option to just make a little symbol of, the quote that really stands out to you and answers that question of, how are you feeling as a result of the project that we have been working on?
And I think just for the sake of everyone getting to practice Nearpod, you can pick a quote depending on how are you feeling and how you're feeling in general, or just practice using it. Mm-hmm. But students definitely do this.
Okay, Alex, since you were a student, do you mind, I see you chose Carlos Santana. Do you mind talking about that quote?
Yeah, sure. I personally like Carlos Santana, so that's the first quote I read, and it says, "There's no greater reward than working from your heart and making a difference in the world." And I mean, I think it speaks for itself. I think, yeah, I feel like it speaks for itself.
Right on.
That's what we want to do.
Right. Thank you for sharing. Okay. Sarah, I also noticed you submitted the Nelson Mandela quote. Did you want to talk about that, please?
Sure, yeah, it says, mine is covered a little bit, but we can change the world and make it a better place. It is in our hands to make a difference. So just like we were talking about helping one another, I think it's really important, especially in your community, if there's a family who's going through a challenging time, that we could do our best to help them out with what we have.
Okay, thank you, thank you. One more, someone who isn't necessarily a student that wants to share as well. Please take the mic. Okay. Vanessa, did you want to talk about the quote that you circled?
Sure. So I chose aim to make a difference in someone's life every single day, including your own. I have helped in several projects to help the homeless before, and I think that helping others also helps myself because it makes me feel good helping other people. So I think that, you know, by you taking time and helping another human being, you're making their day feel better, and by you doing that, you're making yourself feel better. So that's why I chose that quote.
So perfect. Thank you. Thank you all who shared, and thank you all who participated. So next week we'll be having our celebration and demonstration. So I'm prepared, and I'll see you guys soon. Have a great day.
Awesome. It's almost time to demonstrate and celebrate. And this can happen in front of an audience of our choice, right? It can be just, maybe it's other classes in the program, other grade levels, or the families, or maybe even a wider community. So that can be chosen by the group itself. And the site coordinator is responsible for welcoming and making sure that just the people that are there feel invited and understand what's going on. And then if applicable and if relevant, maybe working with Learn, the site coordinator can invite media to take pictures and put in the local newspaper. I think that's happened maybe at one or two other sites before. So that's an opportunity for us as well. The youth leader is leading the students through the demonstration celebration and ensuring that the setup and breakdown of the event, whether in person or virtually, it takes place. So we definitely, if it's in person and it's a full-blown fair, we know that requires a lot of setup. And maybe if it's online, it just means being on a little bit beforehand, being on a little bit after, and overseeing the logistics and technology of the actual event itself.